Hey there everybody, here is the interior of the box once more as we prepare to paint the D&D adventure box. So first of all I'm just going to spray it and I will spray it and I will show you it after I've sprayed it because I don't know what colour I'm going to spray yet. I was thinking about spraying it grey, but I might spray it like red or orange and then use that as like an undercolour for the rock. But we shall see, shall we? I'm just going to go and rummage through my spray paint and see what I have. So I'll catch you in a mo, and this will be all colourful and stuff. Here then is first things first. I've just given everything pretty heavy duty layer of purple. Doesn't matter I've missed bits because I'm going to be layering up a load of colours. I'm going to actually layer it up with a mixture of orange, yellow and pink, and then I'll dust everything with grey afterwards. Just want to give that real underwater effect and have sort of lots of interesting light schemes going on. So I will crack on with the next bit and I'll get back to you once I've got that done. Here's the whole thing dusted with orange. The purple knocks the orange back, also provides the shading, creating a sort of sandstony burnt orange effect. Sorry about all the noises in the background, I'm just outside. This is where I have to do all my spray painting. I don't have like a proper place. So next of all I'm going to use the yellow and I'm just going to dust from one direction, so like say this direction, and everything will get dusted, and then I will come over to say this direction and I'll do everything with the pink, and that will give me sort of a double-sided tone to the whole piece, which will help to create that kind of underwater feel. So here's the pink dusting applied. As you can see from this angle it's pretty subtle, but as you move around the board the pink gets more and more intense until from this angle it's sort of virtually almost entirely pink. But again, the pink's not backed by the purple and orange underneath it, which gives it that nice bit of shading without any real hassle. So here's the yellow just dusted on. I'm going to re-spray the pink back into it, and just to give it more of a blend, and I like the softer tone of the pink rather than the harshness of the bright yellow. But you can see it's starting to get some real tonal variation here. All the textures being picked up alright from the oregano, whichever you prefer. And you might be able to hear the sound of the seabirds in the background, which is kind of appropriate. So I'm just going to dust the pink back into it and then I'll be on to the grey. So there you go, there's the pink dusted back into the yellow, so you've got more of a gradation between the two sides now, and you can see how it changes colour as you move around, which gives it a nice watery feel, I think. So here it is, just all dusted in grey. You can still see all the other colours coming in. I think I'll do a final couple of layers of highlighting dust in with the pink and the orange. I think the yellow was a little bit too intense, but between those two colours I think I'll have something which I'm happy with, so I'll just crack on with that. Here we have it then. Just as well as the pink and the orange, I just dusted some of the yellow just onto the ruined sections as such, to show them as more sort of like sandstone man-made things, and the ziggurat just to broken down pillars, just so there's a bit of differentiation between them and everything else. And this would be the end of this phase, and then I will move into highlighting the piece as a whole and putting into, well, shading rather than highlighting actually. Just dropping in the deep shadows, wear and tear, putting in some green stainy bits, and using a bit of flock just to put some sort of seaweedy, mossy covering on some of the stones and surfaces. So yeah, I'll let this dry and stop stinking, because spray paint stinks if you don't know, and then I will get back to you once I've moved on to the next phase. So here we have 1 part water, 1 part black, 1 part sort of sage green. This is cheap black paint, cheap sage green paint, nothing expensive here. I'm going to mix this down. Might have to add more water, but it's about 1 part of each at the minute, and I'm going to run this into all of the sort of gaps and crevices and everything, and use it as my base shading for the entire board. So I'll just crack on with that and I'll show you what it's like when it's done. Okay, so here is the sort of black wash chucked on. So next I'm just going to be, I've mixed a lighter grey, as you can see there. It's using a light blue paint, so it's a bit bluer, less green. And now I'm going to daub that on all of the rocks and the building and everything, and just sort of make them separate from the ground quite a lot before fading them back together again. So here is all of the grey just daubed on liberally. Just creates separation between the sort of rocky outcrops, and because the buildings had this sort of the black wash done to it, and I just dry brushed over the top, or wet brushed over the top whilst it was still wet. It just gives that variation. You know, you can see over here there's a lot more lightness to it. Barely touched these ones, running out of paint by the time I got to these, and this one here. But I think it works because it gives you that variety that you get under the water, where the sand has got on some of them more than others and less so. And I've left the ziggurat alone. I am going to dry brush everything with white, starting with the ziggurat, I think. Although maybe I should do that. I might do that separately because I don't want to accidentally mix the grey with the white and bodge it all up. So yeah, the next stage is going to be to run light grey, almost a white highlight. Just dry brush over everything. Just still wet. Chuck a load of wet paint, and it won't even be a proper dry brush. It'll be like a pseudo dry brush, a wet brush. So yeah, it's coming along nicely, I think. Here, there you have it then. White highlights all down. It's beginning to come together now. I think I still have to move into putting like sort of green stains and everything, and I'll use some flock just to emulate sort of like seaweed, slick seaweed on rocks. But I'll lay down some green inks and such forth before I put that down, and that will become the areas that I then cover in that kind of a way. And just in case you were wondering, this is about 2 foot wide and about 3 foot long. And there you have it. So we'll get back to you once I've let this dry and I've started laying up the green washes for where there's going to be sort of seaweed and such forth underfoot. Catch you in a mo. So another slight change of plan. I just run a kind of this bright yellow highlight over the entire thing using a dry brush or a semi-wet brush, and it come out. It's given me the kind of light quality I wanted, but it's a bit messy and painty. Not sort of I don't like the fades, so I'm going to take it out and I'm going to give it a quick dust with the pink and the orange again before I apply the green. And when I say dust, I mean really dust. I don't want to lose the grey quality or the yellow quality. I just want to fade it all out a little bit. So I'm going to go do that, and then I will be on to the green phase. So here's the pink and orange laid up, and then I used ivory for final blend. So I did pink in one direction, orange in another direction, and then ivory in all directions. So that I've got the ivory highlight and blend from all angles. Whereas still, as you rotate, there's kind of more of a pinkness from one direction and more of an orange from another. I think this is just enough to sort of blend everything together, act as a bind, knock where the shadows were too dark back, and to make it ready for the sort of final phase, which is going to be doing all the sort of green weedy patches. But just going to let this dry first, and I'll be back with you in a moment once I've done all of the greeny, mossy, residuey. Here then is the adventure box, all finished, as you can see, with the application of a bit of twine. You can seal it shut, and then pull the string, and it should open up. So I'm trying to do this one-handed. There you have your finished adventure board for Dungeons and Dragons. I'll just give you a close-up pan. This is with all of the just bits of flock in here to show where seaweed's growing on rocks, just to give it that sort of underwatery feel. Just Give you the pan up through the whole thing, around over the ruin, which does have some little hidey holes along over to the end. You've got some larger rock formations, and then down into the arched and colonnaded area. So yeah, I hope you enjoy your painting, your modelling, making cool things. Want to make yourself an adventure box for D&D. Cheers everybody, have a good one, take care, bye bye.